There's nothing more inspiring than hearing real people overcome real challenges to get the results they want, especially when those are the same results you'd like to see in your own life. And that's why in this bonus episode, we are going deep with another amazing long-term TAS client, Kathy Buseman, whose story is not only inspiring, but also super relatable. She's bravely sharing very honestly about her experience of taking Ozempic and then choosing to come off of it, as well as how she's handling some major life challenges that have come up over the last 6 months. I'm super grateful that she chose to share her story, even in the midst of all the messiness that she's in right now. And honestly, I think there are some huge lessons for all of us in what she has to share. Welcome to the Feel Better, Live Free podcast brought to you by Thinlicious. I'm your host, Ruth Sukup, and here we'll talk about everything from the science of weight loss to practical tips for making your health a priority in the midst of a busy life. It's a little bit nerdy, a little bit funny, and a little bit revolutionary. So buckle up, friend, because it's about to get real. Hey there, and welcome back to the Feel Better, Live Free podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ruth Sukup, and I'm the founder of Thinlicious and the creator of the Thin Adapted System, as well as the New York Times bestselling author of 7 books. And in this special bonus episode, we are taking a deep dive into basically what transforming your life through adopting the Thinlicious lifestyle actually looks like by sitting down to chat with one of our wonderful clients and now a TAS certified coach, Kathy Buseman. And Kathy joined our program back in 2022. And at 68 years old, she lost more than 75 pounds, which really was a feat that she never even believed was possible. And it's an amazing story, right? And we could tell that story and we could end it right there. But I think it's important to understand that life doesn't always go in a straight line. And Kathy's health journey has definitely had some ups and downs, as life has thrown some major setbacks and even some heartache her way. But honestly, it's better to hear her talk about it in her own words. So here's what she had to say. Yes. Kathy, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to talk to you. And I know that this has been a challenging time for you. We're going to talk about that today. But I think your story has a lot of lessons. And I'm just really grateful that you are willing to be so open and transparent with your experience. So thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's so good to see you again.
No,
I have to say that.
I know. It's been a little minute since we've seen each other. When was that? Back in August? Gosh, it's been almost a year already.
Yep.
Wow.
August, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. So let's go back in time a little bit, because you've been in our program with TAS pretty much since the beginning, right? And so tell us a little bit about your experience, like when you started.
I think I started I think you launched it in the first part of June, and I know it was the end of June when I started. As a lot of people, I trusted you when I got the email, and I thought, I've never lost weight before. We could at least try it,
Yeah.
Not a lot of positive thinking as I went in. Didn't realize it was low carb. And I had a bad experience from that, just with people talking and saying, about testing and all this other stuff. So when I first found it was low carb, I was like, oh, I'm not sure I want to. But I'd already started eating the food and it was good. And the scale was starting to go down.
Yeah.
Which was something that, I have just gained weight over the years and never could lose anything. So for me, it started working. That was the big thing. And I felt good, so I had been eating whole foods mainly before, but it wasn't always low carbs, and it wasn't, I was lower carb, I should say, when I look back now, but nothing that had the macros, defined of how you should do it.
Right. So you were on the program for a little over a year. That's when I saw you last August. You had lost 75 pounds. Like, you were feeling great. Things were great. And then life threw you for a little bit of a loop.
Yes. Well, one of the things that happened I was about a month after I started, I went on Ozempic.
Okay.
now that I look back, I was really talked into it and I maybe shouldn't have. So I think I didn't do everything that I should have. So last fall, I decided I didn't want to be on it anymore. I'm not going to be on this for the rest of my life, etc. So
Mm-hmm.
I went off of it slowly, but I still went off of it. I also hit the holidays, came in from working outside like I normally do, but I had not established an exercise program. So
Mm-hmm.
the weight just slowly started to creep back on as life hit, and some depression, some things that just didn't help me um, focus on me is the best way to say it. Focus on an exercise program that I needed to do, that type of thing. So yes,
Yeah.
I have gained some weight.
You've gained some of the weight back, not all of it though.
No, no, I said I'd lost a third of myself. Now I'm down to only losing a fourth of myself.
Well, I feel like that's still pretty good, right? Because a lot of
Well,
people experience gaining all the weight back even after, like, and we have other, like, you're not the only client of ours that's on Ozempic. And I always say, like, it can be a good kickstart, right? It can be a good way to get
yep,
yourself like back on track, but you definitely have to make the lifestyle changes that are going to allow you to maintain it without the drugs. Because if you become too dependent on that and you're taking that for the rest of your life, and I don't know if you were experiencing a lot of side effects with Ozempic, some people do, some people don't, but it's certainly like nobody wants to be on medication for the rest of your life, any medication, right? So how do you, like, when now you said when you look back at that, you wish you would have done some things differently, like been a little more diligent about certain things. So what were those things?
I think when by being on Ozempic, it takes away, the things that when you get thin adapted, and it did take me a long time to get thin adapted. It was probably, I want to say it was 2 months for me, and that was with Ozempic the second month.
Mhm.
But then once you were, boy, the cravings are gone, you're full faster, etc. So when you go off of it, and then I was very much an emotional eater before, with everything that was thrown at me. Yeah. Anyway, I went off of it.
Yeah.
You have the cravings, and I think that's probably the biggest thing, that with everything that happened, my mindset, I just didn't have the energy to think about my mindset. The funny part is when I went on Ozempic and was on it, several doctors I talked about, I still said that when you go on Ozempic, you still need to change how you eat. And most
Yes.
people do not. And I think they have
Right.
the most side effects. I didn't have a lot of side effects with it. I can't tell you,
Oh, that's great.
I didn't really have a lot of side effects from it. And the weight came off. I was losing 10 pounds a month, basically,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
but then
amazing.
yeah. So when we got into phase 2A, I really never got into those macros like I should have. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where I'm struggling, and I need to go back to that phase right now
Mm-hmm.
to get me back into that. And then I need to get an exercise protocol. Now I'm outside again now. I'm mowing the lawn in a little bit, doing things that I'm active. I still do not have knee pain. I still do not ache all over.
Which
I
is
still, yeah, I still feel good. I still
yeah.
feel, now I'm down to, I only added 8 years to my life instead of 10, from losing the weight. But I also know, what I can. I mean,
Yeah.
I know these things, what I need to do.
Right.
And right now I'm giving myself grace due to some of the things that have been going on to say, and we're going to kickstart. Um, I have a busy 2 weeks, and after that, I'm going to just kickstart it and say, this is it.
Yeah. And I
Eat.
think that's such a great attitude. Like I can just see in you, like after 2 years of like really like the difference in mindset, right? Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but previous Kathy, right? Previous Kathy, pre-TAS Kathy would have been like, well, that's it. I guess I'm just, this is never going to happen for me. I don't even know why I bother. Like, whatever. This is just, my life is hard and hard things are like, it's never going to get better. And because you have like you, and I don't know how much you want to talk about like what's happened for you in the last few months, but it's hard things, like hard things that would take anybody down, like even like the most positive person in the world. And so I think that that's a lot. And the fact that you can look at this objectively and say, I need to give myself grace. I need to get myself to a point where I know I'm ready to start and I'm ready to begin. I'm going to be mentally ready for this. I know what I have to do. I have the confidence that I've learned good skills, that I know exactly what I need to do and exactly the steps that I need to take to get back on track. So what do you think has like helped you make that sort of a mindset shift?
Oh, previous TAS Kathy would have given it 3 days and nothing happened, so I was done. I mean, I'm sorry, I could not make it 3 days, on a
Yeah.
diet. You were starving, and with my emotional eating that I did at that time, which was terrible, now even with this weight gain, it has not been, it's been very slow. It's been something that I'm still eating a lot in the Taz way because I'm thinking that way. Once
Yeah.
you learn about good foods and what you should be eating, you can't unlearn this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm still making a lot of good choices. I'm just not making the best choices for me right now. What has happened in my life is, family drama is my way of putting it, is the first thing. The second thing is the loss of my significant other after
Yeah.
12 years. And you want to I've never been through anything like this. And so it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I had been caring for him a lot, with his Parkinson's, and he'd gone through several surgeries. So it was also a time factor for me. So now I'm trying to readjust my life in a lot of ways. And I'm still out helping other people, and that's why I'm going to be busy the next couple of weeks because somebody's having
Yeah.
surgery. So who's going to stay with them but me?
Yes.
Um, that type of thing. But my mind shift, what you said, mindset is so important. And sometimes I don't think I have the mindset, but yet then I look back with us talking and realize that, yes, my mindset has so totally changed about it, you
Yes.
know, that I didn't just go throw up my hands and say, oh, I fell off the wagon, tough break.
Yep.
It's like, no, I'm giving myself the grace to deal with my problems and things will get better.
Yes. And I think that that is so essential and so key because for so many of us, right? For women, like first of all, we've all been on a gazillion diets over and over and over and failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. I mean, that was my story for years and years and years. And pretty much every woman I talked to in our program has had that. And that you just fail so many times and you give up so many times that you kind of get to that point where you feel like, it's never going to change for me. It's never going to change for me. And then it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you can approach your health journey from an understanding that number one, you have the benefit of 2 years of having learned our program and learned the science behind it and the education, and you've been to coaching sessions and now you are a coach and now you've been through our certification program, like your level of knowledge and just understanding of how it all works is so high, right? And yet, as you know, like we focus so much on the mindset piece of that, of the
Mhm.
giving yourself grace, of knowing that life happens. Life will happen whether you want it to or not. Like there's never going to be a time in your life where it's perfect and all the stars are aligned and everything's wonderful and you'd have all the time to prep all your meal, right? Like every day it's a choice, and it's a choice to keep going and to not beat yourself up over really any of it, because that is the marathon aspect of it, right? This is a lifelong journey that you can keep getting better and get back on track. So let's talk a little bit about how you're going to get back on track. What is your plan? Coach Kathy, what is
Yeah.
your plan?
My plan is I feel like I am still thin adapted.
Mhm.
But I may even go back and do a week or two of phase one. So you can call me on phase zero again right now. My kitchen is already prepped for it. I'm sorry, but most everything. I'll be making sausage balls later today just because I still eat those foods. And, so I'm still not, it's not like I'm gaining a pound a day, a pound a week. I'm just slowly creeping up. Um, so it's been 6 months, 8 months that I've, been doing that since I've been off the Ozempic, but it's a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
But I've been dealing with this for a year a year, and then just this last month is what's really throwing me for, you know.
Yeah. And which is totally understandable. But I think, like, even to stop you right there and say, do you know that most people, when they go off of Ozempic, they gain the weight back within a month? Like, how quickly it happens. Like, there's a lot of studies, and most people gain it back if they make zero lifestyle changes, right? If they haven't changed the way that they eat, the way they eat, which most people who go on Ozempic don't, because they don't want to, right? They don't want to
Right,
have to change.
right.
And so they don't stay on it either because they can't afford to keep taking it because it's expensive and their insurance
Yep.
stops paying for it, or they just don't feel good because so many people experience so many side effects. And it's amazing that you didn't, and I'm really happy that you didn't, because I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But those, like, the studies show that the vast majority of people who are taking, that's why your doctor will tell you when you go and take it, well, you'll probably be on this for life, right? Like, they want it to be a lifetime drug. And so the vast majority of people that go off of it for whatever reason gain most, if not all, of the weight back within 4 to 6 weeks. And on top of that, a huge majority of those people actually gain more back because there's like a rebound effect. And so that's a really scary thing too. So just the fact that you've only gained back 25 pounds in, what are we now, 6, 8 months since
Eight
you've
months,
got
yeah,
off of
yeah.
it, is actually, in the midst of all of this stuff that you have going on, is actually, I think, a way bigger win than you're even giving yourself credit for. Like, that you feel like you're giving yourself grace, but you should actually be celebrating yourself, Kathy. I mean, yes. And do you want to get back on track? And do you want to, like,
Yeah.
do the things that you know are going to make you feel really good? Of course you do. But, like, let's take a minute and, like, celebrate the fact that that's actually, compared to the statistics, that is a huge win, like a huge win, and something that you should be really proud of.
Thank you, because I kind of feel like a failure. But it's what I said earlier about, I think that when you go on Ozempic, you need to change your eating. And by changing my eating to the TAS way, when I went on it, it was probably why I didn't have side effects from it, because I
Yeah.
wasn't eating a great big fatty or great big carby meal and
Mm-hmm.
then having problems. And I really think that that had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Yeah.
I can't go in the grocery store and look at chips or things like that. I have
No.
no desire yet for stuff like that. I might have some with, if I'm with a friend, 2 or 3, but they're not going to be in my house as something I snack on all the time,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah, like you said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you, like, I always picture every time I walk down the grocery store aisles, like the chip aisle or the cereal aisle, like, all I see are those, like, Mr. Yuck stickers that I remember from when I was a kid, right? Like, it's like
Yeah.
poison, poison, poison.
Yeah.
It looks like that to me. Like, I'm like, don't people see this? Like, our
Yeah.
grocery stores are basically filled with poison. Like, 90% of the shelves are filled with poison. And
Yes.
you don't, when you realize what it's doing to you, you don't want to put that in your body. So, okay. So back to the plan to get back on track. So you're in phase 0 right now, which is our preparation phase. You're
Yep.
planning for what you're going to do, stocking your kitchen, getting mentally prepared.
Right.
And then what happens?
Then I think I'm going to do phase 1 for probably a couple weeks just to make
Okay.
sure I'm thin adapted. Continuing to monitor my blood sugar. I've been monitoring my blood sugar and I just haven't gotten myself into ketosis. And I think it's partly because my cortisol levels are obviously
Mm,
high
yes.
and, that type of thing is going on. And so I'm trying to give myself time to deal with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, get my
Understandable.
cortisol levels down before I
Okay.
decide that, I'm going to do it.
And
Then I'll go
what's
back to
your
2 A.
plan? What's your plan for that? Do you have, like, some self-care type stuff planned?
After the year of counseling with the family drama last year, I have learned some of the things that I did that are my self-care. And
Okay.
so this last month, I have really been focusing on a lot of just the things besides grieving, the self-care
Mhm.
that I have to
Yeah.
do. And so that's got to be incorporated in. The second thing that I need to do right off the bat is to establish an exercise plan and
Okay.
to just get going on it. I've already printed out the workout book. I actually did one hit, workout one day, but then
Yay.
I'm gonna go mow my lawn today. That's only 10,000 steps of pushing a lawnmower, mind you, so
That's a lot. That's a good workout.
yeah. So I mean, I'm outside working in my garden, in my yard, doing a lot of that now. So, but I still want to establish, between yoga, stretching. I had been doing it, and when the family drama hit, a lot of things fell by the wayside.
Hmm.
So I just need to really focus on saying this is going to happen. So when I go into this fall again and come in from outside, I have a plan of what I'm going to do and
Okay.
hopefully have established some type of routine.
Good. Good.
So
Love it. Love it. So a couple weeks on in phase one to get your body back acclimated, make sure that you're fully thin adapted, and then you're going to go into phase two. What do you think you'll do differently? You said you didn't feel like you did all the things in phase two the first time around. What do you think you'll do differently when you get to phase two?
I have got to really look at my macros, really track. I think by the time I got to phase two last time, I was losing the 10 pounds a month because of the Ozempic. And so
Mhm.
I was tracking, I was kind of tracking, I should say it that way. I was always testing. I
Mhm.
stayed in ketosis and stuff. So I was always testing and I will test, but I need to be more diligent about tracking and really getting into the new app.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit difficult, I have to say, but
When you're not out in the habit, it can be hard to get back into it.
and
That's for
yeah, and
sure.
learning, and having now I didn't have a lot of my foods that I knew were quick and easy from the Lose It app. So I
Oh,
just
right.
need to get in the habit of switching between the two.
Gotcha.
And I mean, there's so many advantages to this app. It's
Yeah.
just the tracking has been to me harder,
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
But I just
Yeah.
have to get my foods in there that I eat. So I
Yeah.
need to sit down and look at exactly the macros for the 2A.
Okay.
And I don't think I had enough protein.
Yeah. I was
I
going to
really
say, if you weren't following the two, like protein is so important in phase two and prioritizing protein. And so many women struggle with that is getting enough protein on a regular basis every single day. Really. And I would think too, this is where I'd be concerned. And obviously this is something to talk to your doctor about, but the because you are on Ozempic, you can tend to lose a lot of lean muscle mass on Ozempic. And so that's where I would probably really lean in, make sure that you're doing strength training to build up
Mhm.
that lean muscle mass. And then that you're even like upping your protein even more, like really just protein loading, protein loading, protein loading, while also like really working on building your muscles back. I think that's gonna help you a lot.
And I really agree with those. Those are the things that, I would say I did wrong the first time around because I
Yeah.
didn't do the strength training and, would tell anybody who's doing the program, get into the habit of doing that because it
Yeah.
is, I mean, I have some strength obviously because I'm outside working, but I'm still,
Yeah.
like you said, your lean body mass, I'm sure I've lost. And I didn't do PDF days because I didn't feel I needed them at the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
I
Because it was
wasn't
just
because
working. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because it was
So
just working.
so I just need to go back to 2A and hit it,
Yeah.
and do the
Yes.
PDF days and
Yep.
get into that and
Yeah.
plan it,
Yes.
and that's the thing is as I mean, my whole life is changing as far as my time, et cetera. And so I just need to get into a new routine,
Yes.
which
Which
is
is
kind of hard to do sometimes.
a lot. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you've had a huge life event, right? Like losing your significant other is a gigantic. I think on the like there's like a scale, right, of like life stressors that you can look at and
Yeah.
determine like whether it's moving or
Yeah.
but losing a spouse or a significant other is like top of the list on just life stress. So it's not surprising cortisol issues, right? Emotion issues, like those are all things that are supernatural, but it sounds like you're from a mindset perspective, like you really are giving yourself the space to grieve and the space to deal with it and the grace to know that it doesn't all have to be perfect and also being smart about reflection, right? Self-reflection is so important to go, okay, on my journey, what did I do well? What did I not do well? What can I do better this next time when I restart again? Because I think that's so key too, right? For long-term success is not just like going, I failed, I suck, I'm a failure, which I don't hear you saying a little. You kind of said it once, but I don't think you really mean it. And but also like, this is just a piece of my journey, and now I can take what I've learned and do it better the next time, because it's every step along the way, right? Like the fact that you did have some setbacks actually makes you stronger for the next time rather than weaker, and I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. And
Thank
and I feel
you.
like so
I'm
many
just
so many of us go through these life struggles. I mean, we didn't live together, but we were together a lot, and I had recently been caring for him a lot due to things.
Mhm.
So my time management hadn't been what I wanted, and that's why I said getting into new routines and better routines. I look back at the pre-TAS and I know where I would be, and it wouldn't be just 25 pounds up. It would be 25 pounds on top of those 75 I
Yeah.
lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
having never been someone who lost weight before, it's like it's been a life changer. I
Yeah.
realize how much better I feel, how much more I can do. And as I literally said, added 10 years to my life. I feel, yeah, I turn the big 7-0 in a few months, and I don't even think of myself as that, you know,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
You have added years to your life. Like
you know,
it's evident in every piece of everything that you say, and just like even looking at you. And I know people are listening to this right now and maybe I can't see you, but like I'm so proud of you, Kathy. And I'm so grateful that you would come and share this story, because I think that it's important to understand, right? Everybody's journey looks different.
right.
Not everything goes in a straight line all the time. Like that doesn't there are times where you are going to have setbacks. There are times where you have to get back on track, and you have like obtained all those skills, and at a point in where a lot of people are in their lives, right? Like when did you start? 68 years old, and when you started
Yep, I was 68 when I 60,
68 when
67,
you started.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
point where some people are like, I am who I am. I ain't changing it for nothing, right? Like I've already lived my life. Like, and this is what you see is what you get. And that's like the amount of growth in your life in the last 2 years at 68, 69 years old is phenomenal. Like it's insane, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah. And that was really my attitude. I had looked at a picture of my great grandmother. I was looking at some pictures and I looked at her and I thought, my body looks just like hers. You know what I mean? I think I can see the genetics there, and I'm not going to lose weight. I might as well accept myself as I was. And now if they want to see my before and after, they can go on to, things and see my before was not very pleasant looking, but I had
It's
accepted.
pretty amazing.
Yeah. But that's how I accepted. I just thought I wasn't going to lose weight. This is who I was going to be and what I was going to be. And I still did as much as I could, but not compared to what I do now at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel 10 years younger,
That's amazing.
you
That's
know.
amazing.
So,
That's
well,
amazing.
my knees hurt all the time and they don't hurt. There's just
That's
so many
huge.
things to say about doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
it it just proves how the mindset and by having the right tools can change your life.
Every part of it, every
Yeah.
piece of it. And it doesn't change every circumstance, but
No.
it will change you. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, what's
To
so
be a
huge.
strong, I'm a stronger person. There's no question about it.
Amazing. Oh, Kathy, thank you so much for sharing your story today. Like, really, it's very brave of you to come on and talk about all this, especially just in the midst of loss. And I'm just so grateful for you and so happy that you're part of our community, and just love you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a joy to be here. It's been a great 2 years to just know this, and I'm glad to be a coach. I'm kind of in the background on the coaching, just adding a few things because I really didn't have a lot of time to do it. So I don't know how much more I'll do, but I still want to give my comments and talk to anyone who's thinking about Ozempic or just the pros and cons of things like that. But
Yeah.
follow the program. That's the best way to say it. You hear it so many times from all of us. Follow
Yeah.
the process, but
Because it
it's
works.
there. You've done a
Yeah.
great job, and the process is there to help us all feel better. And I wasn't in it to look better as much as I was to feel better. And maybe
Yeah.
that's because of my age, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, I think you got both.
Yeah. I do too. I do too. I still have
Oh,
a lot of people
Kathy.
look at me and say, didn't recognize me, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
so
Well, Kathy, thank you so much. And I'm sure I will be seeing a lot more of you.
okay, sounds good. Thank you, Ruth.
Don't you just love Kathy's story and her attitude? I just love her so much. It's so good. It's so inspiring because I think it's important to realize that life isn't perfect, but it is always possible to change your mindset. And that will change everything. It doesn't matter how old you are. So, guys, that brings me to the end of this bonus episode, but I will be back again very soon with something brand new. So I'll see you then.